What should the Seattle Mariners do about Dylan Moore? Let's talk about it. So today we're going to be talking about a very interesting topic in the absolute downfall in the last month of the season from Dylan Moore. So as some of you may or may not know, Dylan Moore will be a free agent at the end of the 2025 season. So first, let's talk about some of the options that the Mariners have, and there aren't too many options, but here are just like two of them, as well as let's go over some of Demo's stats from last year as well as this year to see the consistent pattern. So really, option number one is finding a potential team before the trade deadline that is interested in getting some infield helps, like say someone like the New York Yankees, who, as we know, are going after somebody like Isiah Kiner-Falefa, who clearly is just a utility guy they're looking to fill in some games. So some of you may laugh at that or say that's just a dumb idea. There are still teams that are going to be actively looking for utility men, and as we know, based on defense, Dylan Moore is one of the best out of them all. The bat is your biggest question mark, and as you'll see by some of these stats, that Dylan Moore can be really hot at times, and he can be really just not hot at all. And then really the only other option is just let Dylan Moore finish out the year as a Seattle Mariner, but unfortunately, as of right now, he really is just not providing any value. He did have a home run in the 4th of July game, but in those 2 or 3 at-bats prior, he basically struck out on 6 pitches. Struck out 2 times on 6 pitches. So he is honestly just at a pretty much all-time low as of right now. He is really struggling. Besides that home run that he hit in his final at-bat, he has not played since. He is really struggling to even make contact with the ball. So I have done some videos before kind of discussing my opinions on Dylan Moore, and really the main opinion that I have about Dylan Moore is just the definition of inconsistent. So I want to show you guys some of that inconsistency that I'm talking about. So from the beginning of the season in 2024 to May 27, 2024, you're talking about the first 2 months of the season last year. Dylan Moore was on an absolute tear. When the Mariners went on that East Coast trip, he was absolutely lighting it up. He even got a feature on MLB Network when they were in New York. He was destroying the ball. He had a 144 WRC plus as well as a 1.6 F4, which at the time led the team. But again, this is where the inconsistency kind of comes from Dylan Moore, where he is absolutely lighting it up like that in the first 2 months of the season. A 144 WRC plus you can never complain about. He didn't have that much crazy power. He only had 6 home runs, but again, he's not mainly known as a power hitter. He was hitting 239, so nothing crazy from batting average standpoint, but his overall OPS was pretty solid, as well as he did have 8 stolen bases. So when you look at Dylan Moore from May 28th to July 7th of 2024, so that is basically the month and a half that I'm going to be talking about as well in the current season that you're going to see in a second, this is what Demo did. His K percentage jumped up all the way to a 35%. He had a 172 batting average, a 66 WRC plus, and only a 0.1 F WAR, which is a massive fall off from the prior 2 months. He only had 2 homers in that span, as well as a very subpar walk rate. Now, some of you are probably asking me, why am I talking about stats from last year? Because I'm going to show you the same exact time frame this current year from the beginning of the season to May 27th of 2025, as well as May 28th, 2025 to the current time of July 7th. So basically, to start off the first 2 months of the season this year, Demo did look hot. Again, he had even more home runs in that span. He had 8 home runs during that span, 16 RBIs, a 272 batting average, a 136 WRC plus, and a 0.8 F WAR. So from an F WAR standpoint and a WRC plus standpoint this year, he was a little down compared to those 2 months I was talking about from last season. But either way, those are very solid numbers from your main utility guy. Now let's fast forward to the May 28th to the July 7th timeframe that I'm talking about of this current season. And you know it's bad when I have to go to page number 2 on Fangraphs. So Dylan Moore basically in the last month and a half has been pretty brutal. He has a 57.1% K rate, which is abysmal, as well as a negative 28 WRC plus and a negative 0.5 F WAR on top of a 51 batting average. So for me, I definitely think that there was a point even coming into this current season before he did get hot that I think the Mariners should have considered extending Demo a little bit further. He's a really good utility guy. We know he's a great defender, overall Gold Glove last year, but at this point, it's just getting worse and worse. And truly at this point, there really is no difference between him and Miles Mastrobuoni, which Miles Mastrobuoni isn't having a terrible year. He's hitting for a higher batting average than Demo. Obviously, Demo has more power, but their WRC pluses are very similar. Miles Mastrobuoni has an 87 and Demo's at a 98, and their F WARs are exactly the same. Now, yes, Demo is mainly used for left-handed pitching, while Miles Mastrobuoni, as we know, is a lefty and mainly used for right-handed pitching, but nonetheless, Miles Mastrobuoni can pretty much play any position that Demo can. And at this this point, you already have guys coming off the bench like Mitch Garver or Donovan Solano based on the game to come off the bench and hit off lefties. So really that's where I'm at with Demo. I would have loved prior to the season to kind of get him maybe extended to maybe 2 more years, just because I think he's a very good utility defender, as we know, but the bat is just super inconsistent. And honestly, this past month and a half has been the worst we've ever seen him. So to me, those really are your only 2 options, is maybe find a team that could really use a utility guy that is pretty good against lefties and maybe package him in to make a big trade at the deadline, or just kind of let the year do its thing, kind of give him minimal playing time. And at the end of the year, he becomes a free agent and finds a new team. But it's really just been so bad that I felt like I had to make a video about kind of just how good he was doing the first 2 months, very similar to what he did in 2024. And then he has that end of May, just absolute slump that goes all the way into July, but this one is even way worse than 2024 was. But otherwise, please let me know what you guys do think the Mariners should do with Dylan Moore. Just kind of let the year ride out, or maybe there is a team out there that would be interested in him in a trade package. But otherwise, I hope you guys did enjoy the video, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace out.